All right, first of all, congratulations, Coach.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Another state title, 4A, boys state title. How does it feel, fourth go around?
It feels good. You think that after, the first one was really special because it is so hard to get over the hump, but it's still very special because it's very hard to do. It's difficult. You got to have a lot of things to happen for you. You got to stay healthy, have a little luck along the way. So, man, we just, blessed. That's what I can say, blessed.
A lot of coaches say you finish with your third team. You start the season one team, get some football guys in, got the second team, get everybody back healthy, then you go on that run with your third team as a complete unit. Is that a similar situation for you guys?
Each year is different. That's what I've learned, that there's no really set way. It's what you got in front of you and what you having to deal with and being able to adjust and adapt. And this year was kind of more seamless for us because we had a bunch of guys that were back. We didn't have very many football players, so the guys were with us all season. We picked up a couple football players, that really, they boosted us. Vance and Chauncey really, they were great contributors. But we were kind of, we didn't change the way we played because those guys were also back too.
Gotcha.
So we knew, when they came into football, it wouldn't be hard to implement them in what we did. So. Okay. It was pretty, they were able to come in. I think, as soon as it was over with, they had one practice and
smooth
played.
transition.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So, of course, obviously with this being the fourth one, let's recap from Title 1 through 3. 2017 being the first title, is that correct? How well can you remember that one?
Like it was yesterday, because it was, we hadn't won it before. I'd lost 3 times before that, and I was like, I was second guessing everything. What am I doing wrong? I actually had a talk with Coach Lofton, and he's passed on, so shout out to Coach Lofton, and they used to joke around with me and say, man, you can't, when we went to eat, he would say, since you don't have no championships, you got to pay the bill.
So he had to get you one.
Yeah. And so he said, man, once you get there, the hay is in the barn. Your stars got to be stars. Your main players have got to play well, and they've got to step up to the challenge. And so I just challenged them. I said, you know what, guys, I'm not going to overcoach. We know what we do at this point. We're not going to change what we do. You guys step up. And I remember having a conversation with Darius Hall. I said, man, you have got to have a double-double. You have got to have at least 15 points, 10 rebounds. He said, Coach, I'm going to get 20 and 12.
Yeah, I like that.
And he got close. I think he wound up with like 18, don't quote me, but 18 points, about 10 rebounds. And, stepped up, hit big free throws at the end. And so, that was a learning experience for me. And so, I carry that on. Once you can't change what you do.
Talk about the supporting cast on that team. Obviously, with Darius, being the star of that title run. Tell us a couple of other guys that were contributing factors of that title.
We're a point guard driven system, and Quan Marshall I still call him captain right now to this day. If he calls me today, what's up, captain? and
it stuck with him.
Yeah, because he really sacrificed for the team because he could score the ball, could do a lot of things, but we had a lot of people that could score, and he just took on the role that I'm going to run the team, play great defense, facilitate, and we had a bunch of good, big personalities on that team.
Okay.
And Quan really managed the personalities, and he was highly instrumental and underrated for what the role that he played.
Played a player-coach role.
Played the coach, yeah, he was a coach on the court. And when you get in those situations, it's so loud, they can't hear you all the time. Somebody on that court has got to be vocal and managing things, and he did a great job doing that.
Absolutely.
Jeremiah Toney. Jeremiah Toney was that glue guy. You know, he didn't lead us in scoring a whole lot of times, but he guarded all 5 positions. You know, he's constantly diving on the floor. He's a great defensive communicator.
He got you them 10 rebounds you
Yeah,
needed.
and you know, he got a great big old, I think he had wound up like 8 or 9. He drew a big charge on Khalil and got him out of the game. That was a big play to get Khalil out of the game and taking that charge. And that was just watching tendencies from film. You know, he was really a high IQ basketball player. Graylin, I can go with Graylin Easter.
I remember Graylin. He shot the ball well.
Yeah, he scored for us. You know, Graylin had some big buckets in that game all season long. So, you know, those guys really, really were, you know, instrumental in playing that part.
Nice, nice. So 2017 was able to get it done. You was able to have to stop paying for the meals because now you can get your meal paid for.
Yeah, no, that didn't happen.
That didn't happen?
No, he said one was luck. he said so till you get 2, till you get 2, you still paying.
and it took a few more years.
It took a little while.
You had to pay a little longer.
Oh yeah, and he gave it to me every time.
So 2020 was the next title, is that correct? Pandemic year. A lot of things happened, a lot of things went on, a lot of changes, a lot of rules changing.
Well, actually, we won in 2020. No, we lost in 2020, 2019. In 2020, we were having a rematch with Magnolia because they beat us. And so our guys what I remember about that year was the practices. They were so intense. They couldn't wait to play Magnolia. We couldn't wait. I had to literally just stop practice, say, okay, because they were just.
So very intense practices, preparing to play Magnolia a second time.
Yeah, I've never felt more prepared for a game than that game. I mean, our guys were just locked in, and it was just, they were diving all over the floor in practice. They were so intense in practice. I was like, okay, we just need to just call practice.
So when did that moment start in practice? Immediately when y'all went in, or was it the preparation before the state title?
The minute they knew we were playing Magnolia, it was nothing. It was nothing to be said. I mean, it was a great run with those. With us, you know, playing Magnolia back to back, and you know what I'm saying, they had a great team. They had a lot of people returning. We had a lot of people returning. So it was just, you know, our guys was just sky high about it.
Got you. So just reflecting back on the challenges faced during that season, and including personal hardships and just lingering effects of the pandemic, how did the team navigate, you know, those obstacles and was able to achieve that success?
You know, one of the things we preach is family. You know, we spend a lot of time with each other, and you spend a lot of time with people. You get to know them, and you know, you build relationships, and that's the biggest thing for me is the relationships that you have. You know, when we lost, you know, this year there was probably 20 guys they were standing behind the bench during the game. They stood up the whole game. And those guys come back, they pour into the other guys. You know, when I had some personal tragedies that I went through, and those guys, you know, they stepped up. They were at my house, you know, and you know, coming by and stopping and checking on me. So really, you know, those things really carry over to the court, because you know, family that will go fight together. Oh, yeah. And I really appreciate them for doing that. Not being able to play the game was a big deal, because you know, we were actually in the middle of practice, the last practice, and they came on the intercom and told. That's how we found out on the intercom that the game was canceled, and it was just, you know, that was kind of devastating.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you know, just part of it is life happens, and you know, as a family, you know, we just pull together and just get through different things. We had some tragedies with some players also too, and so so being there for them as a coach, and you know, being together as a family is big.
Oh yeah, and that never goes away. Once you build that family culture, the brotherhood, you know, those things, like you said, carry over for a lifetime. and the players that you poured into pour back into players, but then as they begin to raise young men or, you know, women or children of their own, then they're able to instill those, you know, core value in their own seeds as well.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, it always kind of starts in a team setting, but it always translates to life, you know, and that's kind of like the most amazing thing about a team.
Yeah, and you know, when they come in day one and on every year, the first thing we talk about is, you know, we talk about family, but also we talk about is you're in the transition becoming a boy to a man. You're going to, you know, this is getting you ready for the next phase of life. And as a coaching staff, that's what we want to do. We want to prepare them as much as we can for those next phase of life. We even have a saying also, and it carries over to the court, men be boys. And when you have the mindset of a man to be responsible and dedicated and to whatever you do, whether it be basketball, the classroom, or whatever craft you have, that you give your best to it and you treat it, you know, truly with it and give it 100%. Go wholeheartedly for whatever you have. And if you'll follow those principles, whatever you do will be successful. Basketball is just a small part of life. And you're gonna have a lot of challenges in life, and hopefully that we can teach them some things, some principles that can go with them to help them prepare for that next stage of life.
Yeah, basketball is just a single tool inside of a big toolbox.
Exactly.
For sure. For sure. So now with the pandemic year, you came back and you won again in 2021.
Yeah.
So that was back-to-back titles.
Yes.
So tell me about the 2021 title.
2021 that was a year where we weren't sure, and you know we had a guy transferred in, Javion Guy King. He was really huge. We had Jakari Livingston who was back. My point guard was back, so we kind of had a little core, but the guys around them hadn't played a whole lot. So it was a lot of guys. Those guys really. Now that was a season where it was 3 seasons.
Okay.
You know, that was one of those seasons where we didn't really know what we had. Then, you know, and you know, it was rough at first. You know, I think we dropped a few games early, and then we kind of started hitting our stride. And then by the end of the season, those guys, Brandon McCrary was real young. He stepped up and he grew. We had some other guys that were seniors that, you know, hadn't played a whole lot. So by the time they got to the end of the season and got some confidence, you know, we kind of hit our stride at that point. And they took it on home, and they were really, you know, some of those ones were back was preaching all year that we want to win it on the court because we didn't get to play that year before. Right. So
because it was like a dual thing, they gave it to both teams.
Yeah, you gave both teams.
That's tough when you don't get to compete, especially after preparing to play the team that you lost to. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the team evolution. What growth or challenges did you observe in your team's dynamics and performance throughout the season leading up to the championship? And that's we're talking about the current one, 2025.
The biggest thing we had was that we had this year, we didn't have really a distinct leader. And, you know, we had played it, but, you know, that's a difficult role playing in our system because, you know, it's a lot of things we require from you. You know, you in the classroom, you're going to have to be on point. Practice, you know, you got to be vocal. You know, we have our guys lead a lot of things. They come in, they lead our pregame stuff. A lot of times is player led. So the first 30 minutes of practice may be player led, and you know I do that a lot to let them learn how to work together. Because if you always in the middle of them telling them what to do all the time, then they get in the game. They have got to be able to. They got to be able to work out things in the game, work out conflict, you know, solve problems. So we do a lot of that, and we put a lot of pressure on the one guy that's played a lot of games for us was Jalen Rowland, and he accepted it, and he accepted that role, and he did a great job leading until some other guys came along, and his role on this team cannot be underestimated. You know, he told me, he said, Coach, before the season, he said, we're going undefeated. You know, and I kind of looked at him like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were one game from being undefeated. In that game, we had 2 starters out.
Right.
And so, you know.
And was that wasn't a conference game, was it?
It was against Benton. We lost against Benton.
Okay.
And, you know, it was, and, you know, they guys, they played tough and they didn't, you know, we don't make no excuses. But they came out there and they swung for it. And I didn't think, you know, saying you're going to be undefeated or is a whole.
Was that the first time you heard that from a player?
Yeah, that's the first time I've had a player come to me and say, hey, man, we're not going to lose
In
a game.
how many years?
Oh, this is 28.
Wow. 28 years.
Yeah. And so,
That's amazing.
And it was just a lot of times when we were down hall with a few seconds to go, and you know they didn't blink. We made a shot at the buzzer to win that game. We had another close game that went down to the wire too. And so even when in the middle of those close games, you know they had the confidence to keep playing.
I like that. They didn't blink. I've heard a great saying that says championships happen when you don't blink. And the players obviously didn't blink all season.
Yeah.
You know, they stayed locked in.
Yeah, and I was like, you know, a couple times, you know, you hit stages in the season where things can get stale. You know, you're winning games, and sometimes you feel like as a coach, you're never satisfied.
Right.
And the players were like, I got it. It's never a big deal to them. And that's one of the things.
They didn't seem bothered.
And even and I think when in the championship game against Morrilton, that they jumped on, we just couldn't make anything. But they never ever rattled. They never got frustrated. They never got upset, and we just kept playing.
Man, that's tough. So, obviously, you're a defensive coach first. Your team's defensive prowess was evident in the finals. Can you dive into a little bit of the defensive strategies that were pivotal securing the championship?
Well, we had the same strategy every year, but we may tweak it a little bit. But we believe that pressuring people. I think that you pressure them 94 feet, 32 minutes, and that's a commitment to make because you got to have guys to buy in, and that's one of the reasons why we play so many people because you can't play that way and play 5 guys all season long. So sometimes it looks a little rough at the beginning of the season because you're having to
a bigger rotation
and get more guys, and then it's uncomfortable to practice that way. You can't play that way without practicing that way every day. And so it's an adjustment period. So, but once they get it, and I thought this year's group really took it maybe better than. Well, I'm gonna piss some of them off with this, if I can say that they maybe took it better than any group I've ever had, because these
2025.
We pressed probably less than we ever have. We played a lot of just full court man to man, no traps, no rotate. We do it a little bit here or there, but those guys, we figured out these guys are so good on the ball that we don't want to trap. Because it releases the pressure. We want to keep that pressure on them. And those guys, and it was kind of spearheaded by football guys. It kind of went to another level when they got here.
The level of toughness.
Because those guys had a level of toughness, and they're defensive backs. So, they're used to staying in the guy's face. So
and those guys had a great run too, right?
Oh yeah, they were right. We had the best football season that we've ever had. So they were used to winning. They come right out of the playoffs. I mean, I told them take some time off. They didn't want it. They wanted to cut right in.
They say you can have it. Huh?
Yeah, they say, man, I want to play. Yeah. And so they came in the mix, and I watched them. They guys would pick people up full court by themselves, and they were causing so much havoc that it made everybody else's job easier.
I like that. So those guys just made a transition and just brought extra intensity to what these guys were already working on, and it just added to that defensive competitiveness. It's nice. It's nice. So leadership and mentorship, how have your experiences shaped your approach to mentoring young athletes, and what core values do you instill in your players?
First thing is we talk about is that when you leave here, that we want you to be a man. Because, when you get kids hit 18 and they graduate, and now a lot of them have no clue.
That's right.
And they haven't done any time preparing. I see it all the time. It's when graduation is senior, you can see the look in their eyes, that uncertainty that's coming. And what are you prepared? A lot of times they may not know what to do, but you can equip them with some things that can help them. Just some core values, just good moral character, working hard, treating people right. Be responsible, be where you're supposed to be on time. And these are the things that we preach from day one, and we stand on them. And so, because these are the things you're gonna need going into your next life. You may not know exactly what path you're gonna take, but those things are all things that are gonna help you along the path. So that's the biggest thing we talk about. But we have, we don't have a whole lot of sayings, slogans and stuff. We got one. And it's on the wall. It's the only thing we got on the wall. It says 100% every day, the Comet way. And well, so we preach, you give the best that you have today. You can't, tomorrow may not have gone so well.
That's right.
We don't know what's gonna happen. Yesterday may not have gone so well. We don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. But in this moment, you can do the best that you can. His best may not be the same as your best, but you don't compare that. I just want to try to get the best out of the players and them to give the best of themselves. And if you'll do that, all you can do is do your best.
That's right. Get 100% out of the man in the mirror. Yeah, that's good. So, community impact. What role does the community play in supporting the team, and how does that help morale and performance?
Oh, it's great. One thing I love about Combination is, boy, they rally. When we need them, they rally. And they've kind of grown accustomed to a brand of basketball. So when our guys, even when we're winning and they're not playing right, they hear it. So I don't even have to say a lot of times. Sometimes I just ask them, what's everybody saying? They say, man, y'all played like trash last night. I say, yeah, you patting yourself on the back, but our people been here a lot longer than you have, and they know what to expect in the way that we play. So there's become an expectation. Win or lose. It's not necessarily about the winning. They expect us to win, but they expect to see us out here playing hard and and getting up and down the court and playing with energy and effort. And if they don't, they hear about it. And when we go to we get to the playoffs, the old players, the alumni, we hear from them. They all show up. We really follow us and support us. So I really want to thank Combination for all that they do for us, and we really appreciate what they do.
That's right. That's right. Future aspirations. Looking ahead, what are your goals for the program, and how do you plan to build upon this championship success?
My goals are, the biggest thing for me is when the players come back. And they come back and they say, I'm doing great. And they have children. I'm coaching kids of players that I coached.
Generations.
And so, and
you're a generational coach.
And like my assistant coach, who's one of my players, who's been with me, David's been with me since 2008. He graduated, and he ran, and he's been a volunteer, runs a business, so he's been a volunteer coach. So he's been volunteering all of this time, pouring into our kids. And when our kids come back, I'll see them pulling the kid to the side and talking to them and mentoring them. And that is the greatest thing to see, that not only are they going on to do well, but they have a spirit of giving back. And that is the biggest thing. And as long as they'll keep passing that on, it'll live long after I'm gone.
That's right. That's right. Developing a selfless mindset. Each one teach one.
Exactly.
So for sure. Coaching philosophy. How has your coaching philosophy evolved over the years? And if so, what expectations have influenced this development?
I evolved a little bit. The game is simple for me. I try to keep it as, it's a lot of different things, a lot of different ways to skin the cat, but it boils down to the team that shoots the most shots close to the goal is going to win the game most of the time. So
how do you takes the most high percentage shots,
and also to kind of a hockey philosophy, shots on goal. If I shoot closer to the goal and I shoot more shots than you, I'm probably going to win the game. And, everybody's falling in love with the 3-pointer, and I've evolved in that way to taking more of them. But at the end of the day, it's still about getting to the basket, and it's still about creating possessions through turnovers and rebounds and those and you taking care of the ball too and not turning it over. So those are the things we really track a lot and focus on that. So we've done it a lot of different ways, just different ways to do it. And that part I'm not married to, because one team may do it a little better, a little better than that other team, but at the end of the day, it boils down to that simple philosophy. And that may be oversimple, but
it takes a little evolving, but like you said, the philosophy and the strategy to winning, stays the same. Let's get downhill, let's get to the basket, let's get makes around the rim, shots around the rim, and get stops.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Legacy and reflection. As you reflect on your tenure and achievements with Mills University Studies, what legacy do you hope to leave behind?
So I don't want to sound redundant, but it's about the kids. That's why we're in this business. And, years from now, they'll forget how many games you won. They won't know how many championships you won. But those kids will know how you treated them, and they'll know what they got out of it. And they'll never forget the time that they have. And when I get to sit and talk to them, I was talking to Day yesterday, and they come back and talk to you, and now he's overseas playing, and he's doing well.
Success overseas as well.
He's having pretty good success overseas. And so guys come back and tell, hey man, this is my kid, and I get to meet the kids, and so going back to the time when my son passed, I think it was probably 50 of them at my house. And they were just every single day.
That's big.
And not only that, they still are connected with one another. They still, a lot of them still had the same group chats from when they were when they played.
Wow.
And so they have built a bond that's a family bond.
That's everlasting.
That's everlasting. So I think that's the greatest thing for me.
Yeah. That's definitely leaving a legacy when you got generations of players. When you have generations of players that continue to stay in communication with each other, continue to support the program, continue to check on Coach Coop, like those, values have been, instilled, and like I said before, they always translate to the next generation when the leader is doing his part in carrying out those values. So that definitely speaks, volumes, for you. It's not just a coach, but as a person, that definitely pours back into young men and instills those values that they'll have for a lifetime. And that's truly bigger than basketball, not just saying that as a slogan. That's what it's about.
Yep.
So this is a bonus question off script. Now, winning this recent championship, I noticed in the pictures and videos, like Coach Coop really seemed to be happy in them moments. In the locker room, I seen the water shower, just the smile that was on Coach Coop's face at that time. And, we seen, the championships before, and, it seemed like that it was just a different feeling for you. We seen you put the Pooh Shiesty mask on and carry the trophy. It was so many, moments that, for me, myself, seeing Coach Coop evolve into almost what today's generation coach looks like. A coach that meshes well with the players and has a deeper relationship than basketball.
Well, you know, a lot of times people ask me this question. They say, well, how do you get them to play that hard? If you care about them, you can get a whole lot out of people when they know you care about them.
Absolutely.
And so that's the first thing that's got to happen. They got to know that you care about them, not just basketball, that you care about their well-being, you know, what they're going through and all those stuff. We spend a lot of time, you know, just talking to them, you know, just stopping, you know, sometimes not just, hey man, I need to talk to you. I ain't talked to you in a while. And just stop by the office and you'll never, you know, you'll be amazed by some of the things that come out. And so that's the biggest thing is, you know, when you can get a lot out of people and I demand a lot. And in that moment when you win, I want them to win more than I want to win. I want to see them, because, you know, we preach about, you know, give 100%. And we're holding you, you know, we're running you and we're practicing and we're coming early and staying late. And then you want them to see the results of that labor. And so my biggest thing is watching their excitement. And you know, and watching. I've been on the other side of when you walked in there and to see that disappointment. You know, there's none. You know, it's hard to. You got to peel them out of the locker room sometimes. So when you do, it's very hard to win a championship. And when you get there, you know, you celebrate it. You know, and you celebrate each other, and that's the biggest thing. Is, you know, we fought together to get to this point. This has been our goal from day one, and we finally achieved it. And I'm gonna explain the Pooh Shiesty too.
Okay. Let's get into it.
Anthony Hester was wearing it at school, and I told him, man, get that off. You we walk around the halls with this thing on. And so he said, well, Coach, if we win the championship, you got to wear it. So I said, all right, we win the championship, I'll wear it.
That's how it happened.
Yeah, and so I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not even thinking about it, you know, after I forgot about it, because this was probably mid-season. So it was, you know, I ain't even thought about it. So
30 days went by.
So he whipped it out his bag. He said, oh. So I had to keep my word.
That's right.
And out of all the things, that was the biggest thing that people talk to me about, especially the kids, about the championship, was the Pooh Shiesty mask.
Because I wanted to know, I'm like, I mean, how did this happen? Was it a coach? Was it a player? Did Coach Cool come up with this on his own? What's the story behind the mask?
Yeah, he had it in his bag. He had it ready.
Yeah. That's nice. That's nice. So 2025 state run, was this the first undefeated season for you with a title run?
Oh, we lost one. We lost the big one.
Well, okay. But that was non-conference.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got close once before. We lost to.
All right, we're good.
Yeah, we lost to when we were in the 5A. We got Moses Moody hit a 3 at the buzzer in the conference championship game. So we were close then, and that one was actually my fault that happened, because we were in foul trouble, and so I said, and we were in overtime, and I said, okay, we're going to go zone, because I didn't want to get in front. The kids told me, said, hey, Coach, you know, let's stay man. But I didn't listen, and Flanagan held the ball the whole overtime and to the last shot. So they called timeout, and they said, Coach, let's go man. They said the Moody kid can shoot. I said, he's a ninth grader. He's not gonna take that shot. And he took the shot and hit it. So
I took a whole lot of other shots other than that one. He kept hitting them.
Yeah, I told him, I said, well, guys, I apologized to him after the game. Said, man, this loss is on me. And they said, don't worry about it, Coach. We're going to beat him in the championship game. And they turned around and did.
That's right. That's right. Well, this concludes, you know, our interview. The title, GOAT status, is definitely, you know, fitting for you. Not only as a coach, you know, on and off the court. It's a real testament to, you know, what you built here at Combination and at Mills. I don't think a lot of people know that, you know, you wore many hats, you know, here as an athletic, you know, director as well. So to win state titles and still hold a higher position, far as the school is concerned. That's big. So I think that was the most suiting title, is GOAT status, the Coach Cooper era. So I didn't know. I didn't know how you felt about that, but
that's for y'all to say. I don't think of it like that way.
You still in it,
and I still have my assistant, Coach Campbell. She gets on me, because I don't take compliments well.
No, and most of the greats, don't, because they're still locked in on the vision.
Yeah, I'm still in the middle of it, so I'm not, thinking about. Right. I don't really spend a lot of time thinking about legacy. I'm in the moment. Last year is gone. What are we gonna do right now?
That's right. That's right. Well,
on behalf of the Mills High School basketball team, I want to thank. There's a lot of people that go into a successful program. First of all, our administration in Pulaski County School District, Special School District, has really been supportive of us in countless ways. I'd like to thank my principal, Mr. Patterson, who's a former coach, who really supports our athletic program as well as our kids. I'd like to thank Sergeant Dunn, who feeds our kids every single game. And I'd like to thank Comet Nation, who steps up they come and support us wherever we go. They follow us wherever we go. I got some fans, I don't care where we go in the state of Arkansas, they're gonna be with us. So I wanna thank all Comet Nation. And I just love Mills High School and I appreciate everybody. And I know if I left you out, I don't want to, it's because of my brain, I'm not my heart. So Comet Nation, I have so many people that I just wanna thank everybody. I really want to thank Fab 44 TV, not only for the interview today, but also for what they do for the state of Arkansas. They have generated a lot of interest. Our kids love it. They love the way that they follow and promote Arkansas kids. And I just can't thank Fab 44 enough. Thank you. Give a thanks and shout out to 4E Media for all that you do. This is a very professional program. It is unbelievable what they do for the state of Arkansas, and I can't thank them enough for all you do. Go 4E Media.